happy to be here, and thank you all for coming. I'm going to read from my novel, The Double Life of Liliane, and I don't really have too much to tell you about it, although I'm going to begin. I shouldn't have said that. Probably I have lots to tell you about it, but anyway, I'm going to begin sort of a third of the way through. And what I guess I meant was that you don't really need to know very much about what happened before. The protagonist, Liliane, and her mother, Irène, they're both French, are on their way to the United States. This is just after World War II, and they're actually immigrating to America. And I thought on account of events today, this would be sort of an appropriate passage to read. In the fall of 1947, Liliane, who has just turned 8, and her mother leave France on a converted troop ship operated by Moore McCormick Lines. There's still a severe shortage of liners. Only 13 are in transatlantic operation versus 73 before the war, and only 2, the Queen Elizabeth and the America, of the 13 are luxury liners. The rest are substandard and provide low-cost transportation. The fares range from $167 to $190 for the women, and a flat fee of $127 for the men. The passengers sleep in open troop quarters that hold more than 100 passengers each. The sleeping berths are arranged in tiers of 4. Each berth has a mattress, clean linen, a blanket, a towel, and a cake of soap. Arriving on board late, Irène and Liliane are unable to get berths on the same tier. The women already occupying the 3 others refuse to give up their space or to move. Liliane sleeps on an upper berth a few tiers away from Irène, who sleeps on the lowest berth on another tier. In the berth directly below Liliane, a woman has managed to smuggle her 2 little dachshunds. The dachshunds whine restlessly during the night and keep Liliane awake. The overhead lights are kept on all day and all night, and they too keep her awake. Irène also can't sleep, and most nights she gets up at 3 or 4 in the morning to use the communal bathroom and to take a shower. At that hour, she has some privacy. Most of the passengers on board are displaced persons. Thus far, only 36,000 out of a near million Eastern European displaced persons have been allowed entry into the United States. 14-year-old Vera, who was sent to a forced labor camp and whose parents were gassed, is one of them. She and Liliane play cards together. They play relentlessly all day, sitting cross-legged up on either Liliane's berth or on Vera's, also a top berth, without ever exchanging a single word. Liliane speaks only French and Spanish, and Vera only Czech, except for when she shouts out, "Va à la pêche," go fish. "Can you stop playing for a bit and go up on deck and get some fresh air?" Irène has to tell Liliane. "You'll get sick if you stay in this cabin all day," she adds. Also, Irène is not sure she likes for Liliane to spend so much time with Vera. Although not the girl's fault, Irène senses something feral and perverse about her. She imagines that Vera's experience in the labor camp will taint Liliane, perhaps beating and rape, and the experience of deprivation. When Liliane goes up on deck, the air is humid, the ocean is relatively calm and a uniform gray. While she sits in a deck chair and reads her book, Les Malheurs de Sophie, Sophie's Misfortunes, by the Comtesse de Ségur, an account of the trifling misadventures of a little French girl who regularly disobeys her parents and suffers the consequences. A Hungarian boy, his arms flailing, jogs awkwardly around the deck past her. Like Vera, he's an orphan and a camp survivor. He looks to be about 15 or 16, and Liliane knows there's something wrong with him. Each time he runs by Liliane, he shouts something at her, and Liliane, pretending to be absorbed in her book, does not look up. He frightens her. As Liliane shuts her book and gets ready to leave, the Hungarian boy comes around once again, and as if guessing her intention, he stops and stands directly in front of Liliane's chair. Then, before Liliane can move or say anything, the Hungarian boy drops his pants. A heavy-set Polish woman sleeps in the berth directly above Irene's, and every night around midnight, a man tiptoes into the room from the men's quarters and climbs into her berth. To do so, he first steps onto the edge of Irene's berth before he hoists himself up into the woman's berth. Then the two have sex. Above Irene's head, the berth shakes so violently she's afraid it will collapse on top of her. After a few minutes, the shaking stops. Then almost immediately, the man leaves. Again, he steps down on the edge of Irene's berth. One night, a second man comes shortly after the first one is left, and he too steps on the edge of Irene's berth before hoisting himself up into the Polish woman's berth. The voyage takes 8 long days. The ship was disgusting, Irene tells Gabby, her future husband, when finally they land in New York Harbor. A floating flop house, she says. Un bordel, a brothel, she adds in French.